going to do a review of the Tungsten 550 watt power supply. Actually, I bought this power supply quite early on during the lockdown, so I'm not doing an actual unboxing, but I'm going to review some of the photos which I took when I received the power supply. So this is a very cheap and basic power supply. You can find it for around 40 ringgit on online websites such as Lazada and Shopee. So I was looking for a cheap one for my basic PC, which I was building during the lockdown. So when I ordered it, it arrived in a basic cardboard box with some bubble wrap. So it did not even have its own proper box or packaging. So but after unwrapping the parcel, it is shrink wrapped in some plastic. So again, there's no box. So this power supply does have a fan at the bottom of the unit. So this fan will suck air in through the unit and the hot air will come out through the back of the power supply. The back of the power supply only contains the plug for the power, and it does not have any switch to change voltages or to turn it on and off. For the connectors, it comes with the standard 24-pin connector for the motherboard, but it only comes with a 4-pin additional for the power supply. Typically, if you have a bigger, more powerful power supply, it will come with an 8-pin for the CPU. For other connections are 3 SATAs and 1 Molex. So this is the picture of the label on the power supply. It is not 80 plus rated, and for the 12 volt rails, there are 2 rails, each with a maximum capacity of 22 amps. So this is the reason why of so many cheap power supplies I chose this particular model, because it looks like it has quite a high 12 volt rail, which amounts to a maximum wattage of 434 watts. This picture shows the specs of my computer. I'm running a Core i5-4460 with an RX 460. I have 2 hard disks, and based on this PSU calculator, my total wattage is around 240 watts, and the recommended PSU for me is somewhere around 300 watts. So this is 300 watts is far below what this Tungsten 550 watt is capable of outputting. So here is a comparison. So again, based on the earlier calculator, my 12 volt rails should be able to supply up to 17.4 amps. And if you see, the power supply is capable of 22 amps on a single 12 volt rail. So that should be enough. And even if you look at the 3.3 and 5 volts, which I require, as shown in the calculator, is lower than what the PSU is capable of outputting. Okay, so this is my computer with the tungsten power supply installed, the same one, 550 watts. So now I'm just going to show you some testing. I'm going to stress test my computer, and I want you to pay attention to the LED lights on the CPU fan. I'm going to darken the room a bit so that it's clearer. Alright, so this is the PC on idle. I'm going to start the stress test in 3, 2, 1, go. So under load, there is some flicker. It's not very obvious, but because of the brightness of the LED, you can tell there is a difference. The lighting is not consistent. There is some flicker once in a while. Alright, so this is still under load. Now I'm going to stop it in 3, 2, 1. So right now there is no load on the computer, no benchmark, no stress test is running. You can see the LED light is very consistent and very smooth. There is no flickering. Right, I will start the benchmark again in 3, 2, 1, go.
So right now there is some stress test running, and there is flicker. Still there is flicker. I hope you can tell the difference. So this only goes to show that the power supplied by this cheap PSU is very unstable. So I think it is only suitable for a very basic computer with no discrete graphics. Even my RX 460 does not require an additional external power port. It's a very low power card, and even then it is struggling to cope to provide stable power. So right now the benchmark is still running. You can still see some flicker right now. Okay, so I'm going to stop it in 3, 2, 1. So immediately when now there is no benchmark running, there is no flicker, the LED light is very constant. Alright, so my word of advice, the PSU does work, but I will only, for something that is this cheap, I will only recommend it for computers which are using built-in graphics and nothing else. Alright, thanks for watching.